So, attend recent Falcon game. Do victory lap. Falcons fans rowdy. Take over Georgia Dome when Bills Mafia come in. How my boo thing from Magic City say? City owes me nothing. Boy, I meet fans out while I'm about. They recognize face from Falcon Birdmouth. Meet this Bucks fan. Talking mess tells me it's fake win. Bills team not have good defense. But don't give credit when we score a lot of points on top defense in Minnesota. Falcon fan can't win for losing. Now this guy's sending me messages to inbox. Downing Birdmouth.
Yeah, I'm from Wichita, but I tell y'all what, Tampa Bay all day, buddy. You pull up, we can argue right now. I've been ready since kickoff, and I ain't backing down. What the hell you know about football, boy? Your little show ain't doing that good no way. Top 5 don't make you champions, hell no. Pennington ain't no Baker.
Seymour warned me. Don't go to just any area like Lennox.
I love Tampa Bay, but this is the Falcons' bird bath. Snarf, snarf.
What's going on, family? It's your boy Simo the C. Mitchell checking in with another weekly Falcons Bird Bath. Shout out to our loyal subscribers and followers. Bitter beer to all our haters. Today, we're going to get into it with a little 3 for 3. 3 things I love, 3 things I hate, and 3 things that I expect to change in the near future about the Falcons in recent weeks. Falcons are set to play on Sunday Night Football in another primetime matchup against the 49ers this week. And I really like our chances again. And I think it's just a matter of us executing better, playing more discipline, and doing really good in situational football. We're going to get into it a little bit with our resident sports specialist, Steve Hightower, and some of what we can expect to see with San Fran playing us this week and how they're going to match up with us and try to play us. This episode right here is 3 sets of 3. 3 things we like, 3 things we don't like, 3 things we expect to change from the recent game with the Falcons, and then we'll head into the game preview for the San Francisco game this coming Sunday night. First and foremost, one of the first 3 things that I liked with this week was the dedication to the run and the creativity that Zach Robinson has been showing with this offense. Right now, Bijan Robinson is on pace for, I believe, 2,700 yards from scrimmage and 1,600.
I don't believe it's ever been done. 2,700 has never been done, I don't believe.
Right. Yeah, I think he's averaging like 169 yards from scrimmage per game. He's on pace for like 1,600 something yards rushing and another 1,140 something receiving. So, but that's the primary thing that I've really loved, first and foremost, about Bijan Robinson and some of the creativity with some of the plays that's really opened up with how they're utilizing Bijan Robinson in this offense. Do you think that's sustainable?
I mean, the way that he's doing it is sustainable because he's not really being overworked. So from a physical standpoint, I think that he could do it. From the standpoint of other teams learning how to prepare for such an onslaught of offense, I think that's not sustainable. I think that somewhere along the line, a few of these teams are going to figure out how to try to cut down on the productivity of Bijan, and that's when you have other players that have to step up and do their part.
Right on. Yeah, me and you were talking about this, and you were saying how the Falcons' offense is so balanced that it's not far-fetched to see something where pretty much every other receiver kind of has average yardage. And I would say probably that could probably be true except for maybe with Drake London. I think he's probably got, like we just saw last game, I mean, they fed him like 10 receptions and they didn't have anybody else. But aside from that, I think they're achieving such a level of balance with this offense right now that these other guys, I think, should be able to really step in there, and maybe even that'll bring more yardage with Kyle Pitts.
Now the flip side to that is the organization has to make sure that they share that that's their goal in regards to even productivity across the board, for the most part, of all the other offensive weapons they have. Because if one player other than Bijan in his mind, especially a receiver, wants to be the superstar, let's just say if it doesn't happen that way, he can end up being disgruntled and thinking nobody cares about him. But in many cases, in order for you to be a championship team or caliber team, you had to be willing to give up your individual accolades and deal with everybody getting a taste. So hopefully that's what they're being. Hopefully that's what the coach organization is sharing with the team in regards to their expectations. But of course, you're going to have one other player other than Bijan that will slide and lose a little bit of his productivity, while another one gains more productivity. That's just the way it goes.
Right. That brings me to my second point, which is I really like the way they're bringing Michael Penix along in this offense, and they're really trusting him a lot more down the stretch with some of the plays to make the proper reads, the proper, kind of make the check downs, take what the defense is giving them. There are plays that, as I'll show on the screen, where you got Kyle Pitts being able to clear out certain things, and they're going to Bijan because there's such an emphasis on what Kyle Pitts can do, or even what Drake London can do in some of those formations that, Bijan's getting a lot of open looks, but I think that down the stretch they're going to buckle down on that, and we could see a lot more progression with the rest of this offense.
Even with what you just shared, and I know I'm a little premature with this, but with them getting ready for San Fran, with Warner being hurt, that's the perfect thing to do because he's not going to be there. Okay, and if they can bait the other guys and get the team to cover Pitts and cover London and make way for Bijan, he's going to have a field day in the middle of the flats. And since he has that great ability, he can turn nothing into something. And as you know, Warner is probably the best at one of the best linebackers in the league at dropping into coverage and still covering the run. So you have one of the most dynamic players in the league going for the season right now, and they're playing him next week. So if they can do what you just said,
right?
Bingo, looking good to me.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That was definitely one of the points that I wanted to touch on with moving forward. There's plays that Fred Warner just snuffs out, especially if it's something like a screenplay. He's able to be a few steps wrong and recover so fast and so aggressively.
Well, I mean, he's four-time Pro Bowl. He's never wrong.
Right.
Even if he's wrong, he's definitely right. So
exactly.
Just like you said, he'll make the dumbest play, the dumbest bonehead play or decision look like the greatest play in the league. So that's how he does.
Right. And speaking of which,
but he's gone.
And just to kind of go back to point one, even about Bijan, we were talking about the other day how a guy like Bijan a few weeks ago, he got hawked in on that long run, I guess, against Washington. But this game, he had that 81-yard run. And me and you talked about two things. One, how fast you can get to your top speed and how long can you maintain that top speed. Then two, what happens, what are you going to do when you actually get to me to tackle me? And we saw he ran right through that arm tackle. These guys are doing things that other players can't. They make things look so easy that we take it for granted.
It is easier for them.
Right.
That's part of the gift. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's easier for them to do the things that they do. That's what separates them from being the average player that you played with back in the day to being a superstar in the NFL. It's the little things. So, yeah. So you might have a guy that may have been just as fast, the same size, the same ability to catch, all those things growing up with Bijan. But there had to be something that separated him from the rest of the pack. And it's little things like that make you a superstar as opposed to, I wish I was a star.
Right. And this kind of bleeds into the third thing that I liked about this team is how cohesive and the difference that I've seen with this defense. I think that Jeff Ulbrich has been a huge proponent of that. There's a few different formations that he used where he gets into a lot more multiplicity, and he's kind of taken a page out of the book of like Minnesota and even the Broncos, where they get these really exotic formations where they'll have like one down lineman, and in our case that's usually been Brandon Dorless, or sometimes we'll have it might be Rook, or And sometimes you can even have Zach Harrison out there, and that speaks to a lot of that versatility. But they'll have like 5 linebackers on the field at the same time. You'll have Caden Ellis, Divine Diablo, and then there's James Pierce Jr., Jalen Walker, and the vet. You
gotta remember. At one time, 80% of our defenses that are being used, the defensive lineups that are being used, and the way they're positioning the players, it would have been illegal to do most of the defenses they do now. Okay, since the rules have changed, all the team has to do is let the league know their packages. Not exact play when they do it, but we have different packages and different lineups that we want to use during this game. And as long as the refs and the umpire know about all of those things, it's not illegal. But if they weren't to put those packages in, and then they do a shift and they do something out of the ordinary that wasn't previously announced to the league, they would be illegal. So now it's not that they're running a different defense; it's just different sets, and it makes it harder for an offense to know exactly what's going on or to get a chance to use the advantage of them knowing their play to use it against a defense when a defense that doesn't know your play. So they just even the playing field a little bit by allowing that to happen.
Right, agree. And what's interesting, I mean, you can have all these exotic plays that you want and drop all these interesting ideas and concepts, but you got to have the Joes for the X's and O's. I really like what we've been getting out of guys like Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. and a lot of the versatility that they have. There's a lot of plays that these guys are making that aren't necessarily showing up in the stat sheet, but it's showing up on tape where we're getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and it's not necessarily so much about sacks as much as it is getting the quarterback off of their spot. Keeping him on the run, not letting him get comfortable in the pocket, being able to set his feet. There's one play where Jalen Walker was pass rushing. They were blocking. They basically held him. He kind of got out of position and went inside, which he shouldn't have, but he recovered so well that Josh Allen when he did actually pull the ball to run, he still couldn't even set his feet in time enough to make a proper throw. Then there was another one where he tried to make some magic happen and we almost capitalized on an interception. Mm-hmm. Do you think that this defense is 100% real deal through what we've seen so far? And do you think that this is just going to keep they're going to keep excelling the way that they are? Do you think that this is a legit top 5 defense? Do you think at the end of the year we could even be looking at the number 1 defense in the league?
Well, I'll put it like this. We've talked about it before in other podcasts prior to now. The scheme or the idea that was brought to the table in regards to Atlanta for this year was to make them much faster, sideline to sideline, let alone north to south. They want to be able to take on any offense. They want to be able to take on the speed that any other offense has. And they brought in the personnel to be able to do so. And you're seeing the effects of a plan that they put together. Now, the beautiful thing about it is they're nowhere near where they should be to get the most out of their defense. And they're still doing relatively well. Do I think they can be top 10? You know what? Sure. When you look at it person by person, you look at the ability that they all have, yes, I do believe so. Will they be tops? I don't know. But can they be top 10? Oh, definitely. With the speed and the dexterity that they have, it sure can happen. And I'm going to tell you what, they can be a problem for any team as long as they don't make mistakes. They can be a problem for right now. They're a problem. Even when they look bad, they show you glimpses that are so marvelously bright that you just go, man, they can just do that all the time. But each week that passes, they're getting better and better. They're getting more consistent, and they're believing in each other. So that makes for a dangerous grouping, and in the end, an eruption of greatness that you probably haven't seen in Atlanta for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely gets into we're in this territory, it looks like, and I noticed it last game where we might have typically given up a lead this team plays like it believes that it's supposed to be there. You have it's like as we go into this San Francisco game, I believe that this team, like we're more talented than a lot of these other teams are out here, but now we're going to play up to that and play like we believe that we're supposed to be there. A lot of times people were like, well, are we going to get out coached? And I think the coaching is there enough that even if the coach does make a certain amount of a mistake, we have guys that are just game changers enough that it works.
I mean, but remember that they're learning that.
Right.
They're learning that they can overcome that. Of 3 weeks ago, they didn't seem like they believed it.
That's true.
2 weeks ago, they said, I think we're on to something. Last week, they said, you know what? Let's go in here with a clean slate and give it all we got. And this week, I think they're going to say to themselves, let's go hurt some folks. Let's go ahead and handle our business. I believe in you. Do you believe in me? I believe in you. Do you believe in me? We believe in each other. And when they come together, I see a nice win. And it's not because we're trying to figure out who the quarterback is going to be with San Fran. I don't care who they will play. I really believe these guys are really starting to work on all cylinders, but they're starting to trust each other. And that's where all of this continuity comes from.
Yeah. How do you think, we know that these type of wins helps the team's confidence out, but why specifically does it have the type of effect that it has for a team? Like, how does it do that?
I mean, once again, they're young. A lot of the guys haven't played with each other healthy. A lot of the guys may not have had the reasoning to get to know each other off the field as well as they may have done this past season. They may not have believed in the coaching. I think that Raheem's philosophy starts off with building up the integrity of the team, player by player, person by person, not position by position. I think that the family atmosphere that's trying to be developed there is going to draw them closer. And once that happens, it's going to just be one of those things where we can do whatever we want because we're family and we believe in each other. All teams need to have it, but it doesn't always happen. And because there isn't any one guy that's on that defense that's such a superstar as of yet, every person knows that they can have an opportunity to shine on any given Sunday. And with that being the case, I think that they're hoorahing each other. Who's going to be the next one up? Who's going to be the big dog this week? And I think they're looking forward to trying to be the next big thing and enjoy the excitement that brings. And I don't think it's going to be a problem if 1 week is this player, 1 week is a linebacker, 1 week is a defensive tackle, 1 week is an end. I don't think it's going to be a problem. And even on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, right now, I don't think they're mad that Bijan's thriving. The offense is made so that he can thrive. So that's by design. So even with that being said, I think that just the family atmosphere is going to do it for him.
This kind of leads off a don't like. One of the things that I don't like, or it's kind of an in-between segue. When I brought up how Zach Harrison and Brandon Dorless had been basically giving us the type of production that we would have wanted to get out of a Jalen Carter if we would have drafted him, and how we're a top defense without having gone that route, and it was better to have got, Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. instead of Jalen Carter. I had a plethora of guys who tell me things like, Jalen Carter's always being double teamed or triple teamed. And I was like, hey, bro, like every team has a guy on the team that's getting double teamed or triple teamed on every play.
I mean, but what does that mean?
Right.
So, come on, they're all professionals. So, I don't know what the validity and somebody always say that means. They're professional players. These teams are getting paid millions of dollars to go out there and play football. Duh. That means nothing to me. Somebody has to get double teamed. Somebody's going to have be single team. Somebody's going to be in double coverage. Somebody's going to get hit hard. Somebody's going to get tackled. Somebody's going to fumble. This is football. Get with it. Stop trying to find a reason to make yourself right when football is a sport. It's like high-powered chess. You got to make the right move. You got to make the right choice. Get out of here.
Right. It is true, man. You still, like, somebody has to do that dirty work. And that's what I really like about this group is we have a lot of versatile guys who you could bump on the inside to do that. And then say, hey, man, I need you to go line up on this edge on running downs. And if they play action or something else, go and chase down to Josh Allen. Go and we saw on the final play of the game, Zach Harrison, like, was chasing down Josh Allen in space and was able to get his hand up and deflect that pass. So, playmakers make plays. Players make plays.
Listen, let's just go back to when you were a little kid, first time you played football. Were you the type of player that wanted to be in the field all the time?
Absolutely.
Okay. With you being on the field all the time, did it matter what you really did as long as you were on the field all the time?
Nope.
Okay. So imagine years later, I'm getting paid millions of dollars. You think I'm still not the same, in essence, the same player that I was when I was a little kid? I'm just getting paid millions of dollars to do it. I want to be on the field all the time. Whatever you ask of me should be what I'm willing to do. I should be happy to do it. Damn it, I should want to do it. So if I got to take on a double team, if I got to do whatever, I'm down with it. I'm getting paid. I'm happy. My family's good. But I'm playing the greatest sport in the world.
Facts. And so going into a couple of things that I didn't like, and we talked about this a little bit earlier. I think Zach Robinson, for the most part, called a pretty good game. And I really like a lot of his plays that he had, his play designs that he has with his creativity. There are some things that I wish he would set up some more counter action off of, though. There are certain plays that they have a certain look for, and I think that they need to have another option for that. Like if there's a certain play that we're running that's a bread and butter passing play, for example, they need to have a run play off of that. There's a few different things where we'll be in the pistol and we'll motion Bijan back and hand off to him. I'd like to see a few different passing plays out of that, for example. I did feel, though as it got into situational football later in the game, he got a little too cute. And we kind of talked about this. It's like he tried to catch him off guard, maybe to kind of catch him with a couple of passing plays that easily could have been intercepted, but they were just incompletions that, stopped the clock. And I know that gave a lot of Falcons fans trepidations of the infamous 28-3 and blowing leads like that with bad situational ball. What are your thoughts on that a little bit? And do you think that that's something that we're going to see changing as we move forward?
I think that as the offense continues to become more developed and more dynamic, you're going to see a more definitive game plan that makes more sense. And yet, you're going to always have a little weird play slip in the here and there, trying to catch somebody off guard or keep somebody from believing that they know what Atlanta's going to do next. When we talked earlier, I told you, even when you play the game of Madden on your own, you'll do something stupid that you shouldn't do just because you think, I might be able to catch the defense off guard. Well, the idea of that happening doesn't change because it's not a video game. I mean, you still are trying to do certain things, but remember that a game plan changes as the game commences. Okay? I'm not saying that if you're up with just a 10-point lead that you start doing dumb stuff with the ball, when you have 2 minutes left. But I'm saying trying something, if you trust your players enough and you've discussed the importance of trying to make sure you don't fumble or you don't put the ball in the wrong place or you don't do an errant pass or you don't take the sack. Letting them know how important that is, you might try a few things just to see, and it might be in preparation for the next game. It might be something that you want to see how your team responds to this next call because it's something that you're thinking about working on for the next game, regardless if you finish the one you're currently in. So there's more than just an ignorant reason for them trying some of the things they try. But I think that right now, with the way Atlanta is, if they're winning, get your win. Get the wins and stop playing around. Get the win because you have grown from week 1 to now, and you don't want to mess up all the good just for one little taste of bad. Because imagine if they would have lost, how that would have made them, after all that they did, imagine if they would have lost. They'd be back to square one possibly, and you have people that don't believe in themselves the way they do now
Right.
because of it. So you got to watch yourself.
Right, no doubt, definitely. And this, I guess, this kind of plays into the discipline a little bit as well too. But and I don't think we're terrible with this, but it's more of the at the opportune time. But it's penalties. Um, I still feel as though we have some penalties that I wouldn't like, and I know every team gets penalties. Do you think that that's a little bit of a product of the more aggressive style defense? We're not necessarily getting a lot of. We're not getting a lot of late hits necessarily like that anymore.
No, listen. This is just my belief, so don't take it to the bank, but take it to the bank. Normally, normally, penalties are caused by three things. One is a lack of a concentration. Two is overexcitement, and three is under conditioning. Okay, now it doesn't have to be in that particular order, but that's normally when penalties happen. You're not, you're a little too fatigued. You're overly excited because you may have done something great, or you know that something great could potentially happen, or you're just not really receiving the in the huddle. Your quarterback should say to you, "Listen, guys, let's get this together for real. Let's tighten this thing up." It comes a lot down to coaching, whether it's on the field or off the field, where you have to sometimes, just because they're getting paid, they're not perfect. You got to remind them, listen, fellas, this is major. It takes every aspect of doing football the right way to make football the right way. So one of the biggest ways to mess up a situation is to never give yourself the opportunity to even run a play, and that's causing a penalty. Okay, so you sometimes listen. When Atlanta lost the Super Bowl, it was because they didn't get coached. They went into the situation where they were all tired, they were hyped up, they thought the game was over, and the coach could have easily just said, "Guys, don't take a sack, don't do this, don't do that. Let's stay focused. This is what we need to do." And I believe you guys would have won it. Here we are now. It's still the same reasoning behind, or the same outcome can happen if you don't do those things in regards to having penalties happen. Or so I don't think it's something that's going to cause them a lot of heartache, but they really need to slow things down a little bit and focus on each play one at a time. One at a time. In the huddle, you've got to calm things down and say, all right, this is what we're going to do. Guys, remember it's going to be on discount. Remember, guys, it's going to be on discount. And once again, remember, guys, it's going to be on discount. We need this to work in our favor. Please don't mess it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing, last, that I'm kind of in a little bit of disdain for is it seems as though Atlanta still is not getting some of the respect that they would get. And I guess we haven't won Super Bowls. We haven't been a perennial contender in a bit of time. But I feel like it even trickles down to some of the holding calls that we're not getting, and that we kind of get talked about by the media in a regard like if we would have lost the game to the Bills, it would have been like, oh well, the Bills are supposed to win that game. The Falcons beat them, and now it's, oh, you beat that their defense isn't that good, or you know what I mean?
Always an excuse, always a reason that doesn't work in their favor. Check it out. Once again, this is just me. I believe a team should play so far above themselves that it doesn't make a difference what calls are called. That's what I believe. I believe a team should be um, so prepared that no matter what ill will, whatever travesties, whatever things that are questionable happen to them, that they still can prosper in what they do because they're that prepared. Um, and as much as we like to blame certain things on certain happenings, in many cases you lose because you lost. Okay, if I was up 20, I wouldn't worry about losing by three. But if I'm only winning by three, you know what I'm saying? Different story. So if I score more points, I ain't worried about. if they do those things. Not saying that it's right. What I'm saying is if your mentality is such that we dominate you so much that it doesn't make a difference if you call false calls, whatever, whatever.
I agree.
For the rest of the game, we still win. We're good. Now, if we can do that, then we can prepare for how to deal with the stuff that isn't really right,
Right.
the injustices that happen. So, when I used to coach, I bypassed that. Man, listen, let's get good enough. It don't make no difference. And I think they have the potential to do that.
Right. No, I definitely agree with that. And that kind of leads me into some of the things that I definitely expect to change. Right now, James Pierce Jr. and Jalen Walker, they don't necessarily have a lot of sacks, but I think if they keep on with that type of thing, they keep on with the just growing and
Long as it
learning.
hurries. If they can make, listen, I don't care if they don't get another sack. If they run around that ball enough and they rush that quarterback and change the timing of each play, you know who's going to prosper? Those cornerbacks.
Right.
Okay? Cause and effect. If you're not getting sacks, you tend to get interceptions.
Right.
If your defense is active. If you tend not to get interceptions, it's because you tend to be getting sacks. Okay, so
Right.
it's according to what happens. So for me right now, with the scheme that it seems that Raheem has allowed the team to adapt, and since he's a defensive based coach, the fact that they're causing hurries is letting me know that the quarterbacks should start to prosper. They're going to eat more. And once those corners really start believing in themselves and start eating a lot, the sacks will come.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I believe there's going to be a lot more turnovers as well too, as we've already been getting them. We've had a lot of people really criticize D. Alford and a couple of the others, and even Mike Hughes. But like you said, I believe that we're going to see them prosper even more because they stepped up and made some huge plays last game when teams are knowing, hey, that's a weak link, we're going to go at them. But because we've got a defensive line and we've got edge rushers and linebackers that are on point with all the stuff that they're doing, we have these game breakers who are like, no matter what, we're going to go make a play happen. That we're going to see a lot more improvement in that area where this defense is, just only going to continue to get better.
Well, you know what's funny is, real quick, is when you have a defense that plays pretty evenly, where they have ballers at every position, they have speed at every position, they're very athletic and agile, it makes your offense stay honest. They can't just choose any one thing to do. So you end up taking a offense that would seemingly be great and you make them into an average offense. Because what do? They can't. I can't pick on the right side. I can't pick on the left side. I can't pick on the middle. I
Right.
can't really go deep left. I can't go deep right. So now what happens is they have to just go football man on man
Right.
and see if they can beat you. And the thing is that with the staff that Atlanta has, it's going to be very, very hard for you to beat them man on man, position by position, no matter what team it is that they're playing against. So that's the beautiful thing in what you're watching right now. That's the beautiful thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people don't even realize the talent level that's there. Some of our own fans and even the rival fans, because you can have fans that troll. Like I grew up a Bulls fan. Like I used to hear Knicks fans troll all the time, but they knew deep down, like you got that guy over there. So I think that people are they're going to start seeing that as the season progresses, because that's what happened with Buffalo. They were not able to just one-on-one when it came to the one-on-ones.
It kept them honest. It kept them straight
It
honest.
keeps you honest. There's only so much you can do, and that's why I feel like going into the game against San Francisco this week, like you said, it doesn't matter if it's Brock Purdy or Mac Jones
It doesn't make a difference.
Yep.
It doesn't make a difference. Well, let me tell you. Let me tell you. Right now, the hardest thing for Atlanta right now is really to keep the team together. And for next year and the year after. Because right now, the amount of skill that is being shown and ability that's being shown, whether it's um, unbridled or not, untamed or not, other teams are going to want those players.
Absolutely.
Okay, the biggest thing right now is going to be how do we keep Atlanta together as a team so that we can turn this into something big and allow the people of the city of Atlanta and the state of Georgia to really see something special. And that's what the only fear I have for Atlanta. That's the only fear that they won't stay together. But for right now, it's marvelous to see.
Yeah, I agree. And we were talking about this a little bit with Pitts and Penix earlier, and that kind of leads into my second like that I like. I feel as though I expect to see right now we're like the number 2 rushing off, not like number 1 rushing offense, but we're not the number 2 total offense right now in terms of yards per game. But we're like at the lower part of the league in terms of scoring offense. But I expect to see a lot more touchdowns come as Penix gets a lot more comfortable in the pocket and as things open up a lot more for Pitts.
Penix hasn't really done much in regards to overall numbers. I mean, he had what I believe 1,100 yards passing. He's throwing around 62%. He has 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. I mean, that's not the top half of the league quarterback wise, but he's gotten better every week. So what may not seem like major, it's not minor anymore because he's getting better every week.
Right.
And as he gets better, guess what? The offense will get better. So the defense seems like they're arriving. The offense is doing great things individually. Once Penix gets on board really and starts really understanding what's going on to the degree that it's like the back of his hand, it's going to be like watching somebody playing a game that you've never seen before. You're just going to be wild, like, what just happened? So that's a good thing.
Do you think that we will be able to keep Kyle Pitts if he has a good year? I mean, if
he wants to stay, yes. Has nothing to do with the team. Has nothing to do with can they keep him. It's going to be all on Pitts. Does he want to stay there or not? You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know what somebody might offer him. And you got to remember, nowadays, as opposed to when I played. When I played, it was an honor to play because it wasn't supposed to be a career. It was an opportunity. Now, playing professional sports is a career. They're making so much money, they can be set for the rest of their life. So, back in my day, you might have made a couple million, you might have been a top player. Now you're making a couple $100 million with commercials, endorsements, clothing lines, cars. I mean, you have everything now. So it's harder for you to keep a guy if he's not trying to just devote himself to the team idea. It's hard because there's so much money being thrown around. So this is really going to be something that Pitts has to come to the realization of what he wants out of his career as opposed to Atlanta itself.
Got you. So you don't think it's going to be a matter of him being too expensive or any of that? It's just going to be a matter of whether he wants to.
No, I don't think so. I think that with the tight end play that you're receiving, he can still make a great deal of money and be one of the top 5 tight ends currency wise. But even that number isn't going to be the same as if you're a top 5 receiver or a top 5 tackle or a top 5 quarterback. So the numbers would be somewhat doable in regards to total numbers.
And do you think they should keep him?
Well, that's yet to be seen. I have no reason for them to let him go, but I don't know what's coming out of college. If they can find somebody that can fit the need of what they want coming out of college, and there's a lot of great tight ends in college. Matter of fact, you have guys in college that never thought about being tight ends, wouldn't even thought about being tight ends 10 years ago, that you have a plethora of tight ends every year coming out of college. And these guys can all play and they can all catch. And a lot of them can block just like everything that we want. So, I don't know yet. It's according to what's coming out. But I'm sure that the scouts will let the organization know.
Right.
So they'll share it.
And so the interesting thing is, because like you said, there's a lot of athletic tight ends in this league, and a name that just keeps popping to my head, because I got him on one of my fantasy squads, is David Njoku. That's a first round talent tight end who's a very athletic guy, but just 29 years old. It never really came to fruition with what he had, no matter what quarterback they had there. I mean, he's had some solid years, but I don't think that he would necessarily offer the same thing to our offense as a Kyle Pitts.
Okay, so you got to think about life experience. Kyle Pitts has been through a lot of stuff in this short life.
Right.
So, Njoku, he's a freak of nature type of guy. If you really look at his stature, you look at his musculature, you look at what he can do. I think that he hasn't even really touched on as much as he could have about with his athletic ability. But there's something where I think that he thinks his butt don't stink. I think that he thinks he's too good at times. This is just my opinion. I think with Pitts could entertain with the same thought, but I think that the things that he's and trials and tribulations that he's dealt with in his life, it keeps him a little bit humbler. And what I don't want for him is I don't want Kyle Pitts to get so happy that he's making the money he's making that he doesn't get better. But I don't want him. But I do want him to look at his past life and say, look at where God put me. I can really do great things with this. So I'm not comparing the two at all. I just know that Njoku at times seems like, I'm the best thing ever, but he's not hitting his potential.
Oh wow! I was like, man, what happened? So
I hit my headphone by mistake.
all right, no worries, no worries. So rolling right along, man. Like, let's kind of have a quick preview at the game. I mean, what do you think that we can expect to see out of this game with the Falcons versus the 49ers? We're not 100% sure who's going to be practicing, who's playing or not yet. We do have some guys that are on the injury report, both for the 49ers and for
But questionable.
still questionable. There's a few guys that today, Atlanta didn't, as of Wednesday, Atlanta didn't have it wasn't a practice day for them, so they had a simulated practice schedule of some guys. Jalen Walker came up on it with a groin injury. We didn't have Billy Bowman last week. I think that they're saying Mooney might potentially be back, but Drake London, they're not sure about him. He might have an injury. With San Francisco's offense, they may be getting back Ricky Pearsall, who's been really good at wide receiver. Jennings is beat up really bad. They're looking to potentially get back George Kittle. They've been good without these guys.
That's still questionable.
Still questionable. How much do you think it changes the game plan? What we're gonna see versus them? I feel like the Falcons, first and foremost, they could, like you said, they can match up no matter what. But how do you think they're gonna call this game differently? They've been running. Well, I'll let you go now. I'll interject.
Well, this is what I think. I think that first of all, I think that if you were to go personnel wise, the Falcons still have the upper hand when it comes to the defense versus San Fran's offense, because both quarterbacks are questionable, which means they're not going to be 100%. No matter who plays, they're not going to be 100%. Okay. And you have other small little issues with different linemen on San Fran's offensive line, to where nicks and bruises, it doesn't take but falling the wrong way or getting bumped the wrong way, and all of a sudden they're not playing 100% either. On the defensive side for San Fran, they have, of course, we know Warner is going for the season, but you still have other holes. Bosa, you have other holes that will not be able to be readily filled right away. With the personnel that Atlanta has and the athleticism, we definitely have the upper hand on defense. I believe we can stop their offense. All we have to do is not make mistakes. If we don't make mistakes, With Warner gone, not being able to drop into coverage and to come up and fill those gaps, I think we're looking at a game very similar to last week in regards to offensive productivity. But I do believe that the receivers and Kyle Pitts have a chance to get at least an extra 30 yards total offense. Per player. I think that Pitts has a chance of getting 30 more yards in the air, and I think that a receiver is going to get at least 30, 40 yards above where they were last week in the air also. So I think that Penix is going to do much better. I think that Penix should be one of the, he should get like a 225-yard game, I think, out of it. He can do it easily with a 68% completion rate, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think that one of the hugest reasons that the Niners lost that game last week, and one of the biggest turning points was once Fred Warner went out. Early on, there were plays that he were making that when the Tampa Bay, once he was out of the game, Tampa Bay was able to capitalize on. There were mistakes. And of course, I'm sure they'll shore this up a little bit, at least in terms of what the assignments are. But there were certain things that when they were motioning to the other side, there's confusion on who's covering somebody. And these are little small things that the quarterback of your defense knows where everybody's supposed to be at, and they know certain tendencies. So they're going to be doing this by committee. And I think it was going to be a tall order for them to cover Bijan Robinson and Pitts anyway, because almost nobody can match up with that guy. But I think it's going to be a lot more.
Now, I do believe that you're going to see both the running backs for Atlanta doing relatively well.
Right.
Because with Warner gone, don't think they're not going to run when Bijan's not in there.
Right.
And don't think that Bijan's not going to line up as a receiver a little bit more just to spread out that defense with Warner gone. Because now there's going to be more gaps. And it's going to be easier to pick up 4 and 5 yards, where last week it wouldn't have been as easy, even though they still did it. So you're going to see a few changes, but I think that the running game is going to be a little bit more stout. I think it's going to be a little bit more power orientated, but I also believe they're going to see, especially the tight end, 30 yards, more production, and Bijan doing what Bijan's been doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy because this San Fran's defense was not a top-tier defense before the injury anyway. They were about middle of the pack. They weren't terrible.
No, Warner was, but they weren't.
Correct. They had some guys out on the line as well too, and they've lost some guys like Kinlaw over the last couple of years. So it's they lost Bosa, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's gonna be
Bosa's out. Yep.
Yeah.
And what happens that the combination of Warner and Bosa, that was a fearful 1-2 punch when they're both on top. If they're both playing together and they're on all cylinders. With them both being out, other guys can be good, but they're still not Warner and Bosa.
Right.
So they're going to, I would be going right to where Bosa's supposed to be, and I'd be going right to the damn middle.
Right. And like you said, even
the backup's got to show up. I'm going to make them show up.
Right. And with our team, our backups are definitely showing up. Even when we had Billy Bowman out, we've had both our starting offensive tackles out, and then even the swing tackle went down. We're down to our third and fourth, or fourth and fifth offensive tackle, and those guys are playing pretty good. Again, D. Alford stepped in and gave us some tremendous minutes. We have a lot of speed in some of these plays. As good as Christian McCaffrey is, I think Divine Diablo is really good out of the back, covering backs out of the backfield, and we have safeties who could cover those guys. We have linebackers that can get into some of these passing lanes. If they don't have Brock Purdy out there, I think it's going to be even a more tough day for that offense in terms of passing, because Mac Jones right now, he leads the league, if I'm not mistaken, in passing, or at least he did going into last week. But he's also, the teams that he's played.
In passing yards?
Yeah, passing yards. But the teams that he had played against, or at least on average per game, he had been leading the league, if I'm not mistaken.
I think Darnold and Stafford should be ahead of him.
They might be. Fact check me on that. But I think I saw an insight that was saying something along those lines. But to that point, they played the Cardinals, the Jaguars, the Seahawks, and the Rams and the Bucks. The Rams are the only one of those teams that were really that good defensively. The rest of them have been.
Mac Jones is probably around, and this is still good, around the fifth or sixth leading passer per game, total passing yards right now.
What's his per game average?
I don't know his per game average, but I know that he has 1252.
Okay.
1,252 yards passing at 67% completion rate, 6 touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
And this is Mac Jones.
And I know that Drake May, Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, Stafford, and also everybody's favorite. Nah, I'm just playing. Baker Mayfield have more yards. Mahomes actually has 15-14, so he's come up after last week. So I think that Mac Jones is around like 6.
Yeah. So no, I'm looking at it now. Mac Jones leads in yards per game. He's averaging 313 per game.
Oh, in average.
Yeah, the average.
Okay.
Yeah, it's average per game. That was what I saw. The stat was that it was.
I was going total passing yards.
Oh yeah, no, because I think he had to step in for. Ironically, Brock Purdy is the second with in average.
Okay, what makes sense? Same
Yeah,
system, so.
But I think that I think Falcons being the number one passing defense in the league, I think that's going to come to a halt. I think that we definitely, no matter who they are, we're equipped for both of them. But Mac Jones is more of a sit.
If they keep throwing, somebody's going to catch something, offensively or defensively. If they keep throwing like they're throwing,
yeah,
somebody's going to reap the benefits, and I think it's going to be Atlanta.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of it's been a lot of dinking and dunking with Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield. They do have some of the deeper routes that they try to do with the crossing. People are familiar with some of that Shanahan stuff. He's got that modified West Coast kind of offense that's a little bit more vertical than a typical West Coast offense. But I don't know. I guess I can see him trying to get. He's one of those guys that gets a little cute with his play calling sometimes too. So I definitely believe there's some opportunities that will be on the field for us to.
The thing with San Fran is they can get as cute as they want if Kittles is healthy. If Kittles isn't healthy, they start messing up when they start getting too pretty. Kittles is the key to them being able to do almost anything they want to do. Just to let you know. It's not McCaffrey, it's Kittles.
I agree.
McCaffrey he's just a cherry on top.
Yeah, Kittle kind of has that thing going on for him that we were talking about with Bijan, where it's like because he's such a good blocker, when he's in there, you don't know it's one way or another, and they don't have a problem with just letting him block sometimes and just.
No, because he's gonna do his job.
Yep.
He's gonna do his job. Listen, think about this. If you have somebody that works for you or that you work with, and you ain't got to worry about them doing their part, isn't that a nice feeling?
It's a great feeling.
Okay, well, that's what Kittle does. Make you feel good about yourself. That's what Bijan does. He makes you feel good about yourself.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I think we're going to be going across country. I think that how much do you? I think that jet lag, it can cause a problem, but I think that this is where your coaching comes in. This is where being a disciplined team comes in. How much do you think that affects a team, though?
Yeah, it's according to how much they do and what part of the season they're in. I don't think right now it should bother them. Really and truly. I think that if they kept doing it for the next couple of weeks, it would bother them a little bit later. But for right now, I don't think it's really going to bother them that much. I think that the fact that they're on a winning high, the fact that they're starting to work on all cylinders will supersede mentally the physical effects that could happen, and they're going to just go out and play football. Remember, like I said, when you were a little kid, you wanted to play, right?
Right.
If you want to play, you want to play. So You don't care if you got a stomachache. You don't care about none of that stuff. I want to go play football. I think that's how they're going to look at it.
Yeah, agreed. I do think this team is definitely hungry. It's playing with a different type of swagger about itself on offense and defense. I think when you get out here and you run the ball, and I think this is one of those games where we should see another 30, 35 yards, rushing attempts in this game. At least if they're smart, that's what I expect to see. They need to do that.
I don't see why not. I mean, as long as everybody's happy, and as long as it's not all on one player. You don't want to wear any one person out so you don't have them for later in the season. So as long as they're, mixing it up a little bit and allowing everybody to eat, I think that should be fine.
For sure. All right, man. Well, we gonna get on up out of here. You guys stay tuned. Yo, appreciate you for your time and everything, Hightower, and we gonna get back with it. Point Game Official, Falcons Bird Bath, C-Mo to C Mitchell, checking out, baby. Peace.
Get wet, get wet. Peace.
Peace.